Hey, everybody. Good morning. I apologize ahead of time. I can tell I'm really still not quite 100%. We are, of course, in the terrible weather here. So if I lose you, bear with me. I'll try to get you back. If not, I'll throw an edit in there. Um, let's see. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I was trying to check what was going on in Israel today. I tried not actually to watch anything about the world until just before I came on, so I could be somewhat illiterate there. People are looking up the word. We don't use too many words nowadays, but the ones who do seem to have some pretty good ones, if you ask me. Yeah, don't ask me. It's entertainment purposes only. Everybody knows that. Y'all, give me a hand. Let's make this channel hot. Throw in the like. Tickle the bell. I love it when you tickle the bell. It makes those in power go, damn, she's getting stronger. I hope. I'm really not sure. I did have a little pick me up this morning, and my husband is really kind and keeps the Irish coffee for me. I just have to add it when I want to. So my Irish cream is getting lower. Oh, what a world we have, ladies and gentlemen. What I ended up picking up was what's been going on in 2024. And I thought to myself, well, 2024 has just started. Well, it's actually not. It's going on the 6th month of 2024. So we're at the halfway mark just about. And I'm like, wow. I thought it seems like the years since at least 2010 have just gone. And I went, isn't that another year? Did you see that? So, yeah. It's not what I thought it would be, actually. And I never thought I'd get to 2020, let alone 2024. That sounded so way in the past when I was a younger woman. And it's not. Yes, I can see myself on the telly sometimes. I try to edit, but I really don't like. I think now I understand the actors that don't watch their movies because you just don't want to see yourself on the big screen because you're like, okay, I could have cleared that up, or damn, I looked that bad on TV. So I can see why they wouldn't want to watch their own movies. And I think that's more than fair. I mean, some great movies have come from these people, whether they want to watch them or not. So I grabbed up what, like I said, was going on for the year 2024. I made it to number 4. Well, backwards, I should say. It wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like whatever, 2019, whatever. I was like, oh, that was the good stuff. Unless they weren't going for the good stuff, I don't know, because I couldn't get to the end of the video. And yes, I pretty much rely on YouTube now, even for news, because I go to the news that's like CBN, the Christian Broadcast Network. That I really didn't like them before, and now I do, because they're like the only Walter Cronkite left. And for those of you who are around my age, you know who that was. One of the last good reporters and newsmen on camera that we've probably ever had. Very, very great guy, no matter what was going on. He actually read that he was on as a reporter on the news when President Kennedy died. And I was only 4, just like John Jr., who I just adored. So I did a lot of work trying to find out what happened there. And we all can't go back there again. It's, with this, I don't know, the Mandela effect. They showed me that there was supposed to be 3 seats in President Kennedy's car, which is a Lincoln Continental. And I actually owned one just like it that was from the owner itself and had all the paperwork and so forth. Suicide doors, which means, they both open so that you can be accessed and so forth, like with John Kennedy. But President Kennedy was killed for various reasons, but mainly because he wasn't going to shut up about what he knew. Others, I think, are given the opposite if they continue to fuss about it. Like President Reagan, they'll develop Alzheimer's and won't be able to address the public ever again, because he was pretty much on the money and said, we don't have a problem here on Earth. We have a problem up there, so we're going to make Star Wars point up. They immediately got the man off stage. Never heard from him again. Never saw him again. I see that President Trump is still trying to maintain the fact that, excuse me, now I can see better. I don't care for. I like my glasses. Don't get me wrong. My husband always takes me up there, and I spend a fortune on them, even through the VA. I should say his fortune. So I should wear them. And when I'm online, I might not be actually doing something, but even I can't see the blurry figure. And I'm like, should I smile? So just teasing. Okay, now again, I haven't really caught up to too much. So if anybody wants to throw anything in the live chat or the comments, feel free. Mm. These things are wild. I'm allowed them because they go out. Yeah, and my husband's really great about taking care of that for me. I don't actually buy them myself. My husband knows where to get them for like half price from what everybody else has around us. I mean, literally from I think he said $14 to $6. That's a big difference. So somebody's really stealing. You can call them the corner store. You can call them Pilot. I don't care. They're in there with a double price on just 5 cigarillos or whatever they call them here. I can't remember. I'm old. So for ladies who do want a stiffener and used to smoke, it's really, there's a lot of veterans out there, and we ladies marched when they didn't really want us. And I think we've been forgotten by history, almost like the Tuskegee Airmen, who we've rediscovered, thank goodness. So, but again, I think the ladies that broke down these doors in the late 70s, early 80s have just been pushed aside by the mad rush to go through those doors. But it's okay. We know we did it. So we're good with that. We're old. I meant to I put my son's gifts on yesterday when I came on, the two beautiful roses in the glass dome. And I have three now. They have the bigger golden rose, and then he got me the red and gold rose and the purple and gold rose to go next to them. You put batteries in it, and it lights up the dome and the crystal. It's a beautiful piece. And I have three now. But I forgot to put out my yellow roses, but my husband always gets me on Mother's Day, and they're quite lovely still today. And I just enjoy my roses. But he manages to, on special days, he'll grab my yellow rose of Texas for me. And I've still got the first rose he gave me, so I'm sure my kids are going to love getting rid of that. So they don't want anything. They don't want china. They don't want silverware. They don't want, like, I don't even know if they want pictures. They don't want any of the things that, like beer steins that I was collecting. Because we neither my husband and I are big drinkers as beer goes. We're pretty much more of a aperitif, maybe a pick me up, like, nice whiskey or maybe a good bourbon. But, we're more into that than we are beer. As a matter of fact, I won't drink beer, but I will drink if it's German, if it's an ale or something along that line. So maybe I should say Europe, which mainly they do a lot of wine in. But they have some really good ales if you're over there. I can't remember which one I like the best. It'll probably come to me later, but it's one of the lighter ales. The darker ale is really, wow. I mean, it'll reach up and just slap the piss out of you. They get you on the light ones too, but yeah, those dark ones, woo, woo, woo. And it's hard to get through the taste. It's an acquired taste, no doubt. I mean, so I can understand. Like my husband, I don't like regular beer. For one thing, it just doesn't taste good. For another, they've watered it down so much that, I mean, you take 3 sips, you got to get another beer. So if you really want to drink beer, you're going to have to go with a 6-pack at the very least to begin with, to even notice that you had something alcoholic. So that's another reason maybe we just like to go get, a good bourbon. You get 2 shots so that you're good to go for the day. I sat there calling my stiffeners, like I said, for my adopted mother's age, which would be the World War II ladies. And they were hard. They were hard women, but at the same time, they'd been brought up in the old ways. And so if you were bleeding, and my mother thought she would faint. And just certain things, if they got news that a loved one was gone or something, then I'd seen that too many times in my memory, but she would faint. And then Dad would go get a stiffener when we got her away. We usually kept the Imperial. It's just, break that, have her wake up and not have whatever it was that caused her to pass out near her. And then Dad would get her a lovely brandy, and she would just be so fine after that. I can't faint. I've tried. I mean, even dying, I can't faint. It's like, wait a minute, this is not fair. So instead, I grab my stiffener without needing the fainting part in between, just so y'all know. Yes, I'm that strange. I hope it's entertaining because it's entertaining to me. So we'll go back to public events today. I didn't see too many except Rafa. And I hear that the United States is trying to tell still the Israelis what to do. Now, this is a country, and I love my country. I love America. I don't like, however, the guy that's the secretary of keeps going back and forth. I don't like Lincoln, whatever his name. I don't like him. You just get a vibe from certain people, and you just go, I don't like her. I don't like it. Well, I do that. I try not to with people that are around me, but even my grandson says, "Spare me, you don't like people." I don't. Truly, if I'm not in charge, period, I really don't have too many in my circle. And even if I pop up at, say, a barbecue or something that my son or someone would hold, I'm pretty much still going to want to. I don't even recognize I'm doing it, but sort this out over here. And what the hell are you talking about? Which could explain why I don't get invited out much. A little bit. So we are out here after 20 years of Afghanistan and Iraq. We're telling Israel, you need to go somewhere else. Don't go after those 5 battalions in Rafah. Leave them on your 6 to come around and punch the shit out of you. And we don't have the right to say that. I don't recall an Israeli telling us not to go to Afghanistan or Iraq or to get out and leave thousands to die because they worked for us. Yeah, Saigon all over again, totally. So, banning the airport, I don't think we did give that to the Vietnamese. The Afghans had better sandals the next time I saw them. Sorry. No hate, no hate, no hate. I'm just playing. So I really don't have much to say about that, except that the America needs to mind its own business. If it doesn't want to stand with Israel, shut the hell up. It should be standing with Israel. Everybody should. That's why we said never again. That's exactly what the UN was founded for. The UN. I'm not talking about NATO. I'm talking about the UN. Look into their things. Look at what they're supposed to do. Is protect us, all of us, so that this never happened ever again. Okay, guess what? They're not. Have you seen them going at them with water cannons in New York? And I was, yeah, and they're ducking. Like, what? Get them again. But I don't want them tased. I have seen what happens with tasers, and I don't like that. I had no idea that they actually stuck up in you. I mean, it looks like at least a half an inch will go through. That's bad. That's very bad, especially on a person's back. Uh, it's easy to paralyze someone. Again, they don't care. I saw that, and I didn't catch much else except in New York. I think there was another section that was also clearing them out. Most of those people did not belong to that school. They were from Antifa. I'd like to know who's funneling money. I think it's Soros. Somebody else thought the same thing. I heard a reporter speaking. This is just big time money. This is money that you don't even notice that you sent. You have that much money. Anybody with that much money has too much power because money is power. So, but you can't take money from someone else. That's not right either. But you would think that they get that much money and they would do the right thing and give back to their communities. Not that guy. He's always seemed to me, I don't know, a bit evil, I guess. Trying not to be ugly about it. I just never liked him. He's another one I had a bad vibe about. I still do. If they're on TV, I'm like, I don't want them in my house, even on the airwaves. I know I'm weird, right? I go ghost hunting. I used to. I would still probably do so if it was closer. Because my husband got the big RV where, the awning comes out, the side comes out. It's really beautiful. And he's fixing that up. And so I can actually go now for a few hours and not have to really worry about how bad my back is. I can't travel very well. It's fun, all of this stuff, because your doctors go, really? It's just, on the I don't know what that means or what they're putting in there, but they ain't telling us shit either. I'm just saying. I think they're afraid we might not pay them, which is probably the case with me. I get pissed. So I really don't have a lot to lecture everybody about today. Um, I would like to, but I'm hoping I could just get up here and get through the day and tell everybody I'd love to see them up here. It is social Woodstock, and I think we should all get up and say, hey, knock it off. We're not taking that shit anymore, or do this instead of that, whatever. For 2 weeks I was screaming, where are the parents? What are the faculty doing? Oh, the faculty's getting arrested with them. Well, we know where the faculty is. What? Really? And they're saying, call so and so as they're being dragged off in handcuffs because the other students that are behind the barriers are going, do you want anybody to know? 40, I need to get out of jail. That was funny to me. I don't know if anybody else caught that. But first, besides the astonishment, was like, really, that is like so instant karma there. I hope they couldn't bail out for a week. Mm-mm. Might be a little mean there, but not really. Have you seen what the shape is of these campuses now? They're destroyed. Libraries, lunchrooms. I mean, it's classrooms, statues, the face of buildings. It's just the same thing they did before. Basically, I think it was 2022 when they were burning down or police stations and police cars, and nobody was responding. At what point do you go, mob rule has won? Okay, for them, it was about a year and a half. They were coming up to officer, I can't say that word with police, but police personnel who would be eating in their squad cars were getting shot in the head and killed by bystanders just walking by. It was a horrific couple of years there. And now I'm seeing it repeat. Only even to my horror, even worse than what we've been through a couple of years ago. It's horrific. It really is. It's evil. And not one of those that just, the Bible thumper type. Maybe you don't know, but I'm just going to go with organized religion to include them all. That, however, does not give you a need to look into those things and understand them. And it's to me scary because I studied this, trying to figure out, even if nothing else, the Bible has a really good history of at least the Israelis in the Old Testament. So the history part is very well done. So we know that part is pretty much right. We've been able to do, the Carver 14 and find this city, find that city. They found the city of Ur, where Abraham was from. Moses, it didn't occur to me until they were doing some work. And I recognized that I was saying, Moses, the baby in the reed basket, found by the princess who was on the pharaonic line. Oh, Pharaoh, Tutmosis. There were several Tutmoses. I'm not saying that Moses was an Egyptian prince, but I believe very much so that he was because he was raised by a pharaonic princess. So he would have been groomed to be a pharaoh or to serve a pharaoh. So his education and so forth would have been massive considering the time period. But the name kind of just struck me in the face. I was like, why didn't I see that earlier? Moses, Tutmosis makes sense. It also makes sense. And I said the Bible history is pretty clear. We've backed up most of it. But if people will remember, the Pharaoh came after him, the part of the Red Sea. Yeah. Why would Pharaoh do that? He was mourning supposedly the loss of all the firstborn, including his only son. They already said to leave. What shook him out of his stupor? What made him get a massive army and come after the Israelites? What made him do that? Anybody remember that tale about the Ark of the Covenant and the manna thing? 40 years, parting the Red Sea, drowning Pharaoh and all of his troops. I think when the Israelis left, the reason they had enslaved them was because they were afraid of them because they were like 4-1. And they didn't want them to get pissed off and come after them because it's like 4-1, right? Didn't do any good to set them out as prisoners because you were just making them stronger and they knew where everything was and they knew you were so weak. Not because they were the slaves. So they knew. And they had more stamina than you because, they were slaves. So you didn't even have to comb your hair. You had a slave do it. So, what would make these people come after you? Because, again, they were scared of you 4-1. I think you guys were locusts when you went through. I think you took everything that wasn't nailed down, including the ark. And that's why he came after you. He would have had to have been raised from his stupor, put the parodic line in danger the way he was doing. And so it had to be really big time for him to come. And from what we've been able to learn, amass a huge army as he came. And he would have been able to do that. It would have slowed him down enough to be a couple of days behind the Israelis. And if you look at the topography out there, it's completely flat. It's like Texas, so you can see him a week away, especially at night with the campfires and all that. So you could see they was coming after your ass. And again, I still think that they went through many cities of the Egyptians and just because they didn't need the manna and stuff till supposedly God said, "You pissed me off, ran around for 40 years. I will talk to you then." Just making it short. And I'm like, it's good to be a God. You can decide who lives, who dies. And that part I have a problem with. There's another part, you get the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. I think it says, thou shalt not murder, because this same God, whoever this is in the Bible, and the 40 years running the Israelites around, well, then they decided by God that there was the land of the Canaanites. I thought that would be Cain and Abel traced, but I could be wrong. So they go off and they're told to keep these commandments, keep the Sabbath holy and all that. Well, their Sabbath is Saturday. Ours is Sunday. Just for a quick update, you can check Rome about that because the last 2,000 years have been fairly good at keeping it recorded and giving background and so forth. You can find out those things. So God supposedly tells them, well, there's the Holy Land over there. Watch out there. Now you can't quite see it here. We got to get rid of these guys. And in the Bible, it says, to attack and take all of everybody to the sword. Everything that's alive, kill. Don't take anything from it. Set a fire and then salt the remains so nothing will ever grow or thrive there again. So thou shalt not kill is kind of out the window. Hey, huh? You gotta wonder, did anybody go just say with the book? What? I mean, I do that all the time though, but I'll hear something and I go, instead of just, I do not still use Google. I'm still kind of old fashioned with it. I use Google a lot, but when it's something like that, it doesn't even occur to me to just open the computer. I'm over there with the Bible. It's faster than sheeted paper. It's great. So yeah, so that kind of, they threw me out of church a lot. We'll put it that way when I was a young woman, because I was like, wait a sec, what commandment are they breaking here? Is it thou shalt not kill? Again, I do think that it should say thou shalt not murder, because killing seems to be something humans are very good at. Yeah, they are very good at. I wish I was again a vegan, but I'm not. Basically, I am, but a little off. It just everything now has gotten so high that even we are struggling, and we're considered like middle class. And at the rate we're going, we're going to sell everything and get in the RV. Fuck it. Excuse me, I'm gonna go this way. He's right. I do love these because they go out, and then I'll take 2 or 3 puffs, and then I can relight it. But I'm going to use that usually up here, and I've gone a little bit overboard, and he's a little worried, so I got to cut it back. Because they're all right to be worried. I shouldn't be doing it any more than that. That's probably pushing my luck. I didn't think I'd get this far. It's 2024 for freaking God's sake. Jesus. I mean, really, Jesus, Joseph, and Mary, who decided we were going to live this long? I'll be 65 this year. And I get up and I've got rid of all the mirrors, so that doesn't scare me anymore. Just this one does. For when ladies, yes, the camera adds a lot of weight. Don't let them tell you it don't. It does. Don't let it bother you. Nothing you do change it. Get up there and do the best you can. For God's sakes, I see some women in their pajamas, and literally their pajamas and house slippers haven't washed their hair in, I don't know, 3 weeks. because they got that greasy bun look going. It's just public. Yeah, take a damn bath. You have to do the makeup. At least get dressed before you go. Nobody enforces this. No shirt, no shoes, no service, which we grew up with. Those. If you went out of the house and you were going to do more than play in your front yard, you had play clothes for that. If you were gonna do anything, somebody was coming over, even your play clothes were your best play clothes. I mean, there was a step. And if there was really something big going on, you had your best outfit. So you had probably three outfits when I was coming up, and about three outfits to play in. Then you had the extra two on the ends. And so, if someone died and they had the wake at my parents' home, we were back in our dresses and our little white socks and white shoes, and little hats, because that was our best. That's what we wore to church. And like I said, they threw me out a lot. So I used to ask the stupidest things. So it's in the Bible. I mean, so I'd be up there correcting them. Just a second. This right here is, they don't like that. They do not like it if you actually know the Bible. And as a religious scholar, which I kind of think I am, I can't reject something without learning it. That doesn't mean I know all of it, but learning it should give me an idea and a glimpse inside of it at least. So I might just be a huge hypocrite. It's hard to say. I know the real family was. I mean, they really were. One of them was a Jehovah Witness preacher, and I use that term to be succinct here. That preaching is what they did. Learning the Bible and have someone preach it at me, I can't do. It's like telling me what to do with what I know already, and you're too stupid to do that. Go spell Jerusalem. Come talk to me. So, yes, I'm kind of rude. Yeah, I haven't got a lot of time left to be nice. And when they're being, I don't know, hypocrites is the best word. This was the blood family that reached out to find us, myself and my sister, and they had two half brothers. One was 15 years older, the other was 13 years older. One was a truck driver and a drunk. The other one was a drunk and a preacher who could tell everybody it wasn't right for them to drink. So it was fun. It was fun. His wife was worse, way worse. I didn't think that could happen, but it did. And this was a family that was known fairly well. My husband's family is entangled in that too. The time I met him, his half sister, I mean, no, his sister was married to my half brother by blood. So we met at one of those gatherings. So technically, I think they considered him a half brother by law or something. I don't know. I can't get through those. They were confusing because somebody would be a half sister or whatever, and then this one would be an aunt, but on the other side, and this. You keep that info because I'm not going nowhere with it. I can't do that. So yeah, people are hypocrites, including myself. I'm sure, even without meaning to be. We probably are. The- That's the other thing I thought about the half brother who was the preacher. It's like, boy, you're holding a beer. How are you? How come you're giving a lecture about not drinking? You're holding a beer. Didn't slow him down. No, I mean, so they didn't like me because I begged to differ. Just a wee bit, a little bit. They didn't like that. They don't like that if you get up and say what's on your mind, or hey, that's not the right thing, or aren't you being a bit hypocritic when you speak of this and you do this. Anyway, they didn't like that. None of them. They were not going to church now. The rest of the family's on, because I said my husband was also tangled in with the real family, blood family. So I ended up inheriting a lot of relatives on his side when I got married. But they were all entangled somehow. Aunts, uncles, it was all over here and there. And yeah, they didn't want us to marry. Here we are, 35 years later, going, they could have been right. I was maybe a little bit. So that was fun. And I do think that most adoptees don't understand that. that they're going to go and have their heads handed to them in a basket. And if they're lucky, that knife won't get straight to the heart. And yeah, I know they're of what I speak. I would advise any adoptee, do not, don't do it. If you're a happy person, do not find that real family. And I still use the word real. We should use the word blood because they weren't real family ever, even though they came and looked for us. What they found they did not like, and they didn't have the courage of their convictions enough to say so. They just did it behind your back. These are preachers and family preachers and stuff like this. And you're like, yeah, the only word you go is hypocrite. I'm just saying. So that for other adoptees, if you haven't been found, don't look. And if you have been found, move. I keep saying that I'm going to write this book about it. And then when I speak about it, I just kind of say like I did, don't go. If they find you, move. It's kind of short, sweet. Not going to tell you why. Just don't leave. Because usually it just doesn't work out that well. There were a few I've seen or heard in my years. It's been 35. I met my husband when I met the family. As I said, his family's tied up in the real bloodline. So that's not fair to him. And I've enjoyed the last decade plus because I haven't been anywhere near any of them. The real sister passed away about 12, 13 years ago. The adopted brother who I adored passed away about a decade ago. So all my family have passed on. Even the blood family have crossed over. The only ones that are in my bloodline would be my son and my grandson and my granddaughter. Um, I do have a stepdaughter, and I have three beautiful step grandchildren who are grown. As a bloodline, it would just have to go through my son and his two children. So at least we have the boy and the girl. He did real good there, except that 13-year thing. So yeah, he's still great. I mean, he's doing so well. I'm so proud of all of them. Even my stepchildren who may not agree with me have never slowed me down. They know that. My stepdaughter would say things like, I learned how to clean from her. It's just vicious, which is true. She learned to clean. When I said, have you cleaned up the kitchen? And it was no or yes. I'd go, look, I go, are you kidding me? I'm walking on dirt. I'm looking at dishes. There's grease on the, you know. I was like that before because I just was natural to me. And the adopted father was a World War II vet. And you had everything pretty much dressed down, covered right. I mean, where everything had a place and everything was clean. And I used to clean a lot because I didn't want my mom to have to do it. And they were the same age. So when she was approaching 70, I was still a teenager. Yeah. I mean, I hear myself, I go, wow. Because my kid's 45 or coming up on 45. He keeps saying he's not 45 yet. If you say that to him on the day before his birthday, oh, you're going to be 45 or you're 45, right? And it's like, no. My birthday's tomorrow. Very insistent about that. Very insistent. We all have some kind of a crutch. Oh, there's my clouded every day. And it's difficult when you're not using the news or your own background to speak of something, even though it's a little square box, because you have to go edit it. You're going to put it on the big screen because you can take your glasses off. That way it's blurry. You don't really want to see it. It's like looking in the dark. I look good in the dark. As long as you don't have a flashlight, I look damn good. Yeah, I had a stiffener. I think I told you I did. Yeah, that kind of loosens the tongue a little bit. Probably got not to on live TV. What can I say? Again, I think you guys out there are hippies. They call us baby boomers, but whatever they need, whatever tag they use, I'm still a damn hippie, so I use what I want. So, yeah, I was out there protesting during Vietnam. Yeah, I'm one of those. Of course, I served my country in more ways than one, please. Yeah, And now I'm going, damn, they're doing what? I thought it was bad back in the day. And I try not to see, like with Mother's Day, I try to stay out of current events because I go a little stupid, maybe a little bit stupid. So I try not to get into them. And then after that little holiday we have, I'm jumping back into live news or whatever. Well, I don't believe now in American news because it's not. It's Americans have just political channels. They don't have news programs. They have political news, whatever the hell that is. But it covers it for me. So I just, which broke my heart, especially with Fox. I liked Fox. They started in San Antonio, and they were like PBS used to be. Our public broadcasting system was free. Of course, TV was free before they came up with cable. And I'm sure that was after they learned out how to block TV. Then the satellites come. Rent that equipment so you can see what it is you're paying them to see. It's like the water board here. They just come up with a new charge. It was based on the footprint of your property. And ours is only $10 a month, but that's 120 extra a year just one house. And that's not in the used category. That's something you've got to pay them for no apparent reason, as well as your water bill for what you actually used. And of course, we have to have the 15 taxes on there. Yeah, they're not happy unless they have a lot of tax on there. Lots and lots. And you go, okay, let me call them and find out what this is about. That was fun. You got to wait 30 minutes. You got to hit one and this now that again and hit four. Yeah, because you want to talk to a person. So you go through the 15 automated ones and you're trying to get a person. They can't do anything. You really cannot pay your bill talking to a person. You have to go to them and you have to bring cash if you go to pay it that way. Or you can go to another site that they send you to if you wish to pay it online and pay the $3.50 per month. So, yeah, I wonder who came up with that one. I'm assuming the people that got the 350. Hopefully, I couldn't tell you. But you wait through that line. You finally get that person. You go, what's this about? You did explain that it's on the footprint. It says storm drainage. You're like, it's April. Hasn't stormed yet. How do I pay? Why am I being charged for no storms? It's been a quiet year so far. What's this for? Okay, and it's for storm drainage. And they keep saying that. That's their role to say they've been given. And I've been in operations, so I know this. And so I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but okay. So when do we stop paying this? She says, oh, that's indefinitely. Okay, we didn't vote for this. We didn't, we didn't do any of that. Yeah, my son and my daughter-in-law have the $250,000 home. The huge rooms and yeah, it's very lovely. I would hate to clean it. I can't keep up with the little one now. Of course, we have cats everywhere. We seem to be a beacon for cats. I don't know if it's because I'm an old lady now and I have to be the cat lady on the corner, but that's what it's turned out to be. And I don't mind that as long as they save a life. I can't even turn a plant over without trying to save it. So, life is precious. Life should be lived. And maybe that's another thing the kids understand about us. Our generation was left nothing by the parents. Now, the parents, they inherited, and your older siblings inherited. But they've made these laws and all this debit and not debit. They charge you two death taxes. I thought the Britons were bad, but two death taxes. And that came out like 3 years ago. And I was like, that's going to be fun. I want to come back to pay that death tax. I have a few ideas of this. So, yeah, you really don't own it. They took 300-year-old farms in the family, threw the people out with their everything on the lawn and let people buy it. And they took away the land and gave it to the government because you couldn't pay the taxes that they had now had on your property. You had been paying tax, and this had been paid for 300 years in many cases. I think people don't remember Farm Aid, and then Willie Nelson stopped in to give them money to save their property and be able to give it to their kids. But the government didn't like that either. So, of course, the IRS got Willie Nelson. And I mean, they left the man with like two pair of pants and a shirt. I'm not kidding you. I mean, all his gold albums, everything, they locust everything. And the man still went on. He's with us today. And a great shout out to Willie Nelson, another good man that the government decided was something they needed to crush. And they did. And those farms don't go into the family anymore. They have big, great farms like China. And I'm wondering to myself, well, when are Americans going to realize, hey, this isn't democracy? And which one is this, a Democratic or a Republican nation? I would love to hear someone explain that to me because I can't get that yet. I thought it was founded as a republic. And then suddenly there was a democracy. They're very different if you look up what each one means. And yet, at the same time, I don't feel that either of them should be what America is and what it was supposed to be. But you have to be a student of history to catch all that. And I don't want to lecture on too much. If you're interested in the topic, throw it in the comments. I have the live chat on today too, but I'm not seeing too much activity, which is surprisingly no one. It's been such an ugly day. And I'm going to have to jump off shortly because my husband is going to make breakfast tacos. I love the bacon and egg tacos, so he's going to throw that together. I need to actually clean the house, but at the same time, I'm bringing in more dirt than I can get out as long as it's wet and so forth. So finally, I just go, oh, screw it for the day. It's like when I told my husband I was just getting on my, he was like, really? The day's over with. Poor guy. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it is kind of sort of. I was pretty late today. It was about 11:30 when I got on, but in my head, I was like, I go from 10 to 12, so I'm good to go, right? Because I don't have to go for an hour. I can do 30 minutes. But for me talking, 30 minutes is never enough. I'm going to talk a lot more than 30 minutes. I can do over an hour if you want. Of course, I have the stiffener. If I'm not having that stiffener, I'm probably going to be shorter. Or like today, not really coherent on what I was. I picked it out for a topic. Did I pick a topic? Oh Lord! And I can see my flowers in the background. It's nice to have them. Again, I wish the gods, everybody, and you notice I said gods plural. If you think about it, it's even in the Bible it's plural. Let us, yeah, let us. That, and that's all you need to just run with it from there. So, even the gods, I use plural. Give me a hand down here. It's free. We need the Woodstock. We need my generation to speak out. Like I said, those people inherited until the IRS made sure nobody could do that anymore. And if they did, they were going to pay you a lot of freaking money for it. My husband and I have seen what happens when people inherit from their families because our families gave it to the elder brothers and sisters, and they would inherit the house and they would have to pay the dex taxes. So they would have to get a mortgage on the house, which was already paid off 10 years before. They'd have to get a mortgage for 5 times what it was sold to the parent for, and then pay off that mortgage for 25 years or so. Because they said 20 years, but it's more like 30. Now, most of them go to 30. But then again, they're putting up a house in 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I watched this with my son's new subdivision out here. And when they first went up with their home, there was like 20, 25 homes out there, and it was just beautiful. I loved the drive. There was nothing out there. There was no business. You took the first exit, you jumped in, and you ran to the subdivision. There wasn't nothing to it. There wasn't any. There was like maybe one gas station or something. And suddenly, bam, you had all kinds of restaurants. You had all kinds of stores. You had, back when they got theirs, it was just Walmart. down the highway. And so I loved the drive back then. There was never any interference. It was just pop, pop. And then suddenly they went because they got one of the Air Force bases out of San Antonio who had, when I was there, they had 5 bases. They had 4 Air Force bases and Fort Sam Houston, which was Army, which is where I was. And they had Lackland, Kelly, so forth. I think they moved Kelly here. I think that's the one they actually moved here. But suddenly, my son's subdivision, like I said, just went. And they were putting up a house every week, every 2 weeks. I'm stretching it to every 2 weeks. So how good are these homes? I just, I'm curious because they're not built like my family's homes were. They weren't built like my generation built them, which was a little bit less, but a little more compact. And most of us had, the outdoor areas where you would have a cellar so you could get in from the tornadoes. I mean, the sky would start to darken. You ran home because you knew you didn't want the parents to worry, but the parents were absolutely vicious about things like that. If you see lightning, run home. You weren't a block away anyway. You were 12. You could do that. At 65, I'm like, where's my cane? And do I have to go underground again? Kind of thing. We don't have those here in Georgia. We didn't have them in Texas. When I served in the Europe area, they did. Germany and them, they had them. And some of the Brits, like the Scotland area, more of the Moors area for Britain as well, those areas did not get tornadoes at the time, but they got bad weather. Now they actually get tornadoes in Europe. I'm like, holy crap. That's why I said it ticks the boxes. You might not be a religious person, or you might not believe an organized religion and still be kind of religious like me. You're still checking that Bible. And for me, that's why I said I don't go online for certain things. I'm in there with that finger going, where was this one at? There's no picture. And so, yeah, I think that the difference, like I said, in inheriting was a vast gulf between my generation and the previous generation, even though there was like not 10 years between our siblings usually. But they inherited, my husband and I did not. And we saw how bad it was. And we were glad we did not inherit. And we told our kids at that point, we were in our 30s at that point, and didn't think, I never thought I'd get to 2024, for God's sake. I'm just saying, it will help if I have to be here. So they didn't get something they inherited. They really didn't. They got something they had to pay for and had to be responsible for, and finally just let go of because. So you weren't jealous of your siblings because they got smacked in the head by IRS like 100 times when they inherited it. So you didn't want that shit. So you told your kids, or I did. I'm sure the rest of us around my age group told them the same thing. No, screw that. You're going to have to inherit it. You have to pay for it. You got one already. The other one's got one. So we're good to go. Everybody got a house. We're taking the rest of the shit and we're going to go party. So good luck with that. It was what I told my kid. You don't inherit shit. And the things you did want them to inherit, they're quite vocal about it. They don't want it. And even friends of ours who are younger than us by 10, 15 years have said, oh, yeah, they don't take China and stuff. They don't take that stuff, and then they don't want it. And you just want to, you can't do that. They're absolutely right what they want or don't want. And so you're going, do I take this to the Salvation Army or do I sell it? They can't inherit. And you wonder, too, at the back of your mind, if you did just say, screw it, and give it to them anyway in boxes. And you could do that before you passed away if you were lucky. But still, the IRS is going to come after you. If somebody says inherited a house, oh, my God. Have you seen the IRS lately? Don't militarize the police. Hell, why not? You militarized every fucking thing else. Excuse the police. I mean, geez, Louise. I mean, they took Al Capone down by using the IRS, and none of us got that idea that, okay, they're going to screw us running. They are not taking us to dinner first. That worked up there. I know how dirty all of it is. It's all dirty. Maybe every government falls from within because they just get so much dirt they can't stand up anymore. I don't know. I've changed a lot of things shifted as far as what I believe in and what I don't believe in. It's one of the reasons I believe in education, but not the shit they're doing to our kids. It's indoctrination. It's not education. You can get more of an education in life than you can get these schools they have now. I had a good school. I had a good public school, huge. It's like college, better than the colleges here. I mean, huge. It was 6 miles of buildings and so forth that we kids had to run. You ran to classes because you had 15 minutes to get there, and it was 3 miles down the road. And I kid you not. And they were all connected as well with the tunnel system that was for a nuclear attack. Our people were told, our generation were told to duck and cover. So it's funny, it really is. So if somebody set off a nuke, you were to get under your desk and cover. And that was so much protection. Somehow, I don't know how or why, but the new schools, and when I got to high school, it was fairly new. I think it was like a year older, maybe. And then, like I said, they had all the nuclear tunnels, and those were tiled and concrete, really nice, big. You could have just about drove a car through them for sure. They were a little bit bigger than our hallways, and our hallways were big, not like these schools I see today. It's like the island airplanes got smaller and smaller until they were just throwing the peanuts at you. That was fun. Yeah, I'm not ever flying again because, like, I'm not that big. Really, yeah, no hate. I am not that big, and still I was like, can't get in here. Next to two firemen are trying to get over. So yeah, let the old lady sit down. So yeah, this is when I jump from topic to topic. So again, I should get off because my husband is going to be a sweetheart as he usually is. I don't know if you've seen me long enough to know that I don't like to cook. I never did cook. I was too busy. Even with a child, my child learned to cook because I didn't cook. And I would come through to get ready for the next job or whatever. And my son would be in there making me a grilled cheese and tomato soup or whatever. I love those. Still do. To get me to eat something before I went off again because I didn't have the time. And I understand now latchkey kids, which is what they told us was the code word for our kids, which was true. I had no idea that it was and it wasn't illegal then. I guess the latchkey kids grew up and said, "Don't do this to your kids," because it came out after my kid was grown, so it had to be his generation. And I'm like, I'm looking at him like, did, it's like, yeah, what's this? That's just crazy, but true. This is what makes it funny. So I guess again, I'm going to get off. Tell everybody stay safe out there. Come see me. Tell everybody about it. We got Woodstock. We got social Woodstock that's free. I'm going to go on and get in here before they shut the door. I talk about whatever crosses my mind, which is the great thing about this. It's free. It's it's a stepping stone to what our lives have been, where they're going, where our kids are going, where our grandkids are going, and this is much better than what 20 years ago even. And I wouldn't have this chance to say this. I couldn't reach out to another generation and leave so much information behind as we can today, right at their fingertips. And yes, that's from us. We were the ones out there. They were changing the shit every 6 months. We're going to so they finally did settle down with the touch screens and the Chromebooks and the laptops. And yeah, they're not settled down a damn bit. Smartphones. I love the smartphones. It's the same thing, still a mobile phone. But I did disappear for nearly an hour today to bother everybody. Come see me, throw some things in there. I'll come to you. Or just come and talk yourself. We have the live chat up. So, everything's kind of legal nowadays, pretty much. I don't know if anybody out there has checked into Mood, but I recommend it highly. I really do. I think even Willie would like this one. And by the way, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and other founding fathers that we had, Adams and so forth. They were all farmers, so to speak. They were just farmers. They all had land. They all owned slaves, by the way. Terrible business, but that's the basic history. You can't change that. But I brought it up because there's paperwork from George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and even Adams back and forth that talked about the fact that you needed to make and take advantage of the hemp plant for both medicine and rope or sails or whatever. The difference being that the female plant is the one that everybody calls marijuana. The male plant is the hemp that makes the sails and so forth. So if you put them together, they do not, there's nothing to the marijuana one. It becomes pretty much the other. So it does not do anything medically. So that's the one they wanted everybody to buy. Look at the purpose they did. And somebody figured it out. Like I said, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all of them said, make the most out of this plant because it's a weed. And it was very profitable. And it would grow like crazy. Not like the crops of cotton and so forth. This plant would grow anywhere. Didn't matter. Give it some sunshine, a little bit of water, and bad no. And I'll give a shout out to Moon. And that's just a little background so everybody could check into the founding fathers and find out, oh, yeah, they were farmers. Because it really isn't taught. Um, there's many things that aren't taught. I can't believe that they're out there printing now because I would slap somebody if I have to wait for them to print something. I'm not being a happy person. I will use my cursive and be done in 10 seconds. And they're up there printing for 5-10 minutes. So who told y'all this was going to work out for you? Because they lied. They didn't check it out or something. But I digress. Again, I see a couple here. I'll have to get in and see how everybody's doing later. So I'm going to go have some great breakfast tacos out there. You guys come see me. Tell your friends. Tickle the bell. Send a like. Hell, send a dislike. I give a shit. Bring it. I keep saying this to people. Bring it. Show me. I wanted everybody that was involved in these damn, they call them protests. I don't know what you would call them. I call them hate-filled rants. But okay, so we'll give them that. Come talk to me. Show me why you believe this nonsense, so I can tell you how stupid you are. Which is probably why I don't have too many on the channel. So those of you who have your big boy pants on, a big girl pants on, come see me. The rest of you, don't worry about it. Pop in anyway. I'll help you. Just cracks me up. Go have a good start to the day, guys. Come see me. Come see me. Can't be that bad to be this crazy, you think? Toodles.